Hello everyone and welcome to Van Tech Corner. In this video, let's take a look at the BPI-R4, a high-performance 10GB router that supports up to 36 GB per second Wi-Fi 7 throughput. The BPI-R4 is powered by the MediaTek MT7988 or the Filogic 880 that has 4 ARM Cortex-A73 processor, clocked at 1.8 GHz. It also comes with 4GB DDR4 RAM, 8GB eMMC flash storage, micro SD card slot, and 3 SIM card slots. For network ports, it had 2 10GB XFP Plus ports and 4 GB Ethernet network ports. Not only that, the BPI-R4 also gives us one M.2 NVMe slot for 5G module. Interestingly, this port had both USB 3.2 and PCIe 3.0 bus. We do have one M.2 key M slot with PCIe 3.0 X1 LAN for NVMe SSD and 2 mini-PCIe slots with PCIe 3.0 X2 for Wi-Fi 7 module. The BPI-R4 is fully supported by OpenWrt. With this being said, you are free to go with the stock firmware, which is using the MediaTek SDK, providing better Wi-Fi performance since it includes proprietary driver packages. If you enjoy open source freedom, official builds from OpenWrt works well, but the wireless performance may not that good. Now, let's jump to the unboxing section. Depends on the purchaser's option, the accessory will be different. In this case, I got the full BPI-R4 4GB RAM kit with the metal enclosures and the Wi-Fi 7 module. Inside the box, we got the BPI-R4 with the metal casing and Wi-Fi 7 module pre-assembled. A 12V 5A power supply terminated in DC barrel jack, 6 wireless antenna, a tiny screwdriver, some screws, and SIM card holder, and lastly, an Ethernet cable. Now, I will open the casing to see the internal components before powering it on. This is simple. All we need is unscrewing 2 screws at the back, and voila! Here, the BPI-R4 is equipped with a cooling fan and heatsink. If you purchase the BPI-R4 alone, it is recommended to install at least a heatsink or get its cooling fan for 20/7 operation. I will remove the screws to take out the PCB from the casing. Alright, we can see that the Wi-Fi 7 module got a massive heatsink. It takes all the available mini-PCIe slot at the back of the PCB. The RF cables also take all the holes to mount the M.2 SSD. So, if you wish to install the M.2 SSD, you need to rewind the cable. Now, I will put everything back and try to power on the BPI-R4. Before closing the enclosure, make sure you switch the switch 4 to on. This will supply 12V power to the Wi-Fi 7 module. Also, don't forget to change the boot DIP switch accordingly. By default, it is 00, so the BPI-R4 will not boot at all. In this case, I will change it to 11 to boot from the micro SD card. For the firmware, I will use the MTK MP4.0 provided by BPI. It comes with driver for the BE14000's Wi-Fi 7 card, and I needed to test the device performance. Writing the firmware to the micro SD card is quite easy. You need Rufus, Balana Actors, or DD command to do so. Everything is ready. Let's connect Ethernet cables to the WAN and LAN ports, install the antenna, and connect the power cable to turn on the BPI-R4. Of course, make sure the micro SD card is inserted. For debugging purposes, I have connected a USB console cable to the device. Let's check out the boot log. There are JFF2S error messages on the console, but the device is still functioning. This is LuCI interface of the BPI-R4 at 192.168.1.1. The username is root and there is no password. It looks like the SDK is based on OpenWrt 21 and the web GUI looks a bit old. Linux kernel version is 5.4.271 and there are 4 GB of RAM. Let's take a look at the network interfaces. There are pre-configured WWAN for USB 0, one interface is now the BR1 bridge, and BR-LAN bridge attaches to Gigabit Ethernet ports and wireless interfaces. On the Network Devices tab, we have BR1, BR-LAN, Ethernet 0 for the Gigabit switch, Ethernet 1 for the XFP Plus port LAN, Ethernet 2 for the XFP Plus port 1, LAN 0 for the Gigabit 1 port, and LAN 1, LAN 2 and LAN 3 for the Gigabit LAN ports. Here, we can see that Ethernet 1, LAN 1, LAN 2 and LAN 3 are attached to the BR-LAN. Ethernet 2 and LAN 0 are attached to the BR1 ports. To configure wireless, let's go to MTK Wi-Fi configuration. The wireless tab on the networks is not working with the SDK. Here, we have 3 SSID pre-configured. It is working on the AP mode on 2.5 GHz, 5 GHz and 6 GHz. By default, there is no password. However, I have changed it to WPA3 AES for further testing. Let's begin the test with a 1-to LAN throughput test. In this test, the PC is connected to the XFP Plus LAN port on the Banana Pi R4, and the XFP Plus 1 port of the Banana Pi R4 is connected to the upstream routers. Here, I deleted the BR1 bridge and set the one interface to Ethernet 2, which is the XFP Plus port. LAN bridge remains unchanged. For this test, packet steering is enabled and shortwave offloading is disabled. Running iPub3 test with normal mode or offload with 4 streams, the throughput is 8.67 gigabit per second. Running the same test again, the throughput increased a little bit up to 9.17 gigabit per second. Changing the direction to reverse or download with 4 streams, the recorded throughput is 9.48 gigabit per second. The result is similar on the second test. During the test, the CPU loss is very little and it stays 99% idle all the time. Perhaps offloading is enabled from the SDK and we can't see this from LuCI. Testing with OpenSpeedTest, the speed is 8,856 Mbps download and 7,180 Mbps upload. On the second attempt, the speed is 8,670 Mbps download and 7,232 Mbps upload. On the third attempt, the upload speed improved, it is 8,767 Mbps download and 7,996 Mbps upload. Before jumping to the next test, I tried running iPub3 test again. This time, upload speed increased to 9.04 gigabit per second and 9.33 gigabit per second. Running the test with real-time route of Ethernet 2 from LuCI, we can see that the peak throughput of inbound and outbound reaches 11.18 gigabit per second. This means the Banana Pi R4 can handle 10 gigabit 1-to LAN throughput. Now, let's check out the Wi-Fi 7 throughput with the BPI-R4 NIC BE14 module. As mentioned, the SDK firmware comes with wireless driver and configuration, so it is working out of the box. In the default configuration, wireless security is disabled. I have changed it to the BPI-R4 in order to use 6 GHz. For the client PCs, I am running Windows 11 with the Intel BE200 Wi-Fi 7 module. Currently, the PC is connected to the 6 GHz SSID. Technology is Wi-Fi 7, recorded link speed is 5764 Mbps for both transmits and receive. Connected channels is 37 on 6 GHz frequency. Let's begin the throughput test with OpenSpeedTest. Since the device is able to handle 10 gigabit throughput, I will run a 1-to-LAN throughput test with Wi-Fi. The download speed reaches up to 3339 Mbps or 3.4 gigabit per second. For upload, the speed is 2759 Mbps. You can see the same from the Windows Task Manager. Testing with iPub3 for streams in normal direction, the throughput is 2.16 gigabit per second. Changing the direction to reverse, the throughput reduced to 1.92 gigabit per second. Changing the stream number to 8, the speed improved a little bit. Here, the throughput is 2.35 gigabit per second for both normal and reverse direction. Now, let's see if Wi-Fi 7 on the 2.4 GHz makes any differences. With OpenSpeedTest, the speed is 172 Mbps for both download and upload. Running the test the second time, the result is close to the first test. You may want to know the speed in 5 GHz. Let's check it out. With OpenSpeedTest, the speed is 1605 Mbps download and 1121 Mbps upload. It looks like there are issues with 5 GHz since the result fluctuates a lot. For example, in this test, the download speed is 1549 Mbps, where the upload speed is just 803 Mbps. Let's see if it is getting better in iPub3. With 4 streams in normal direction, the throughput is 1.06 gigabit per second. Running the test in reverse, the throughput is 1.09 gigabit per second. Finally, with 16 streams, the throughput reaches 1.19 gigabit per second. Besides the Intel BE200, I also tested the wireless throughput with the Intel's AX210 Wi-Fi 6E. Here, the AX210 is connected in 6 GHz, link speed is 2402 Mbps for both transmits and receive. Running iPub3 test in normal mode with 4 streams, the throughput is 1.62 gigabit per second. With 4 streams iPub3 test running in reverse mode or download, the throughput is 1.68 gigabit per second. Playing around with the streams numbers and direction, the highest throughput I got with the Intel's AX210 is 1.7 gigabit per second. I will end the video with a power consumption overview. After boot up with the Wi-Fi 7 module installed and enabled, the power consumption is 9.6 Watt. After one XFP Plus port is connected, the power consumption turns to 10.5 Watt. With 2 XFP Plus ports connected, the power loss is now 10.8 Watt. Connecting more Ethernet cables to the RJ45 ports, the power consumption remains at 10.8 Watt. I tried to run a 1-to-LAN throughput and the power consumption is still at 10.8 Watt. During the test, the CPU is at 99% idle. Alright, so that will be all for this video. In the next one, we're going to test OpenWrt official builds on the BPI-R4 and have further testing. I would like to express my gratitude to Judy from Banana Pi for sending me the Banana Pi R4 for reviewing. Thank you all for your continuous support and see you all in the next video.